And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme No Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
I don't know what just happened there. He glitched out. And this
Buffering.
is the Buffering No Rhyme No Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We back.
I messed you up.
You did. Look at that.
My plan.
Succession. Or success. Not succession.
Succession.
Oh, man. I was thinking about that stupid... Well,
Words
it's not a
are
stupid show. How was your week, my friend?
Busy, for lack of a better term. Like, it's full of meetings, and I didn't get to make any music. Didn't get to mix any music. And
I'm so childish.
I should just walk outside in the rain with a sad face on.
All I hear is standing in the rain when you said that. Man, but good. So
How was your
productive. It was productive and good in some areas, very non-productive in others. But I'm very hopeful.
You know I don't have any headphones on, right?
I just not realized that.
Do you have my headphones?
I don't think I have your headphones.
My headphones are that brand.
Oh, maybe I have your headphones. I was looking for my headphones.
Oh my gosh.
Nope.
You stole my headphones.
Did I? Oh, did I? Hold on, 1 second. Quick switch, guys.
I knew something was off. This whole goddamn day.
Oh, my God.
And I can't hear myself. Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my goodness. You're in the right one. You're in two. That much I at least got right. Good gosh. Whew.
I'm going to fire you. You're not even fireable.
Whoa. Anyway, oh, man. At this point, I feel like they have bets, like on DraftKings or something like that, on what's going to be our mess up for the day. This would have been like a not a parlay, whatever the like the weird ones are on like whatever the Super Bowl things are. I don't gamble. It's fairly obvious at this point. But anyway, I had a
fuel dance or dance fuels or whatever it is. FanDuels. There it is.
FanDuel. No.
Dance fools.
Dance fools.
I'm going to make some bets on dance fools.
But yeah, like I said, productive, slightly non-productive. I'm building towards, again, the consistency. It's a dramatic hyperbole that I live in. Speaking of that, I found my old video, an old video of me, and it's hilarious. Not linking it or telling him anything about it, but it's hilarious. Yes.
What are we going to do with that information? They don't need to know that.
But overall, it was still a good week. I am walking. I'm getting out of the house. Nintendo had a direct. Now we can get into the meat.
Bruh. You just gave context for something that you're never going to say to me or to them.
What?
You're fired.
I went walking.
Damn it!
Good
Son of
times.
a biscuit. All right, so our first thing, because I want to get out of here sometime today, and yeah, so I can fire you, is Lupe Fiasco and MIT MIT. He recently sat down for an interview, a
2 hour interview.
long 2 hour interview, and I listened to the whole entire thing. And basically, he broke down what his agenda or happenings are at MIT as a professor there. And a lot of the conversation was about rap and the evolution of rap music and making rap music a formal part of the culture through academia. And he explained how basically this art form needs the same respect as other art forms such as jazz music or rock music or any other musical form that has like a hall of fame or a prestigious claim to human history.
Right. I enjoyed it so much because it just started to make me personally think about rap and its delivery, the different eras that we've gone through a lot differently. I was looking at it under now the context of evolution and how we've evolved. I think about artists in their different eras and their periods and started to think about rap in our different periods, whether it's the snap period, whether, it's the origins of hip hop or lyricism in and of itself between Rakim all the way down to Cole, like how you get that evolution of artists. Even in Eminem, talking about his use of syllables and how people don't really recognize that because you will just see that he rhymed cat and hat and won't think about anything in between. So just looking at the art form from a new perspective is what this interview did for me.
Yeah, and I think he goes to mention that when it comes to making rap formal, some people have the argument of, "Oh, why would you make it formal? Like it's from the streets, and it's an art form that organically changes and grows and things of that nature." And his rebuttal to that is like, "Well, why would we make engineering formal or law formal or things of that nature? Like, why wouldn't we take something that is created by the people for the people and not have a formal process for people, no matter whether you're a rapper or not, to learn about it, to study it, to apply it, and then apply it in different places, whether apply it in law, apply it in newscasting like Ari does, and apply it in a various amount of ways that allows people to understand rap, maybe even like rap at some point. And that's his whole goal.
I think it also changes things societally if you think about, so like you were talking about, like in law. I mean, they're already doing it. They're just doing it in a negative connotation. I think that if more people kind of on an academic level understood like how rap works within law, I think that would change song structures. I think that would force people to be creative because it will put people in a position to where it's like, okay, if these words being said infer certain things within the law realm, then I should probably say this differently or not say it at all.
Well, I think that to your point, there would be a better understanding, and it can't be used against people in
Yes.
the court of law.
Yes.
And that's really important to furthering the culture, right? Because rap shouldn't be seen as some redheaded stepchild and looked at as the most vile thing in the community, because rap is just as diverse as human beings are.
Yes.
And there are good parts of rap and there are not so good parts of rap, and we should understand all of those parts in order to move society forward.
Agreed.
So cool. Sounds like we can wrap that up. and we can move on to our next topic. Don't, don't, no, no. So, the needle drop, aka Anthony Fontaine Hose.
Wow.
You know, I'm just doing the thing that he does.
Yeah, true.
You know, Anthony Fantanalicious
I hope that's not one he used. Don't use that, Anthony.
is in some controversy now, and the controversy, ironically, is with Drake. So here's the story, and I'll boil it down in a very concise way. So Anthony did a review of, what are you doing?
Nothing.
You're planning some shit.
Nope.
Anthony did a review of one of Drake's albums and many of Drake's albums. And then eventually, Drake caught wind of some of the negative ones. Drake sent some DMs, which you see on the screen here, to Anthony. Anthony then, in turn, didn't want to make the DMs so nasty and so public, so he didn't. And what he did was turned it into a spoof and claimed that Drake and him had a great conversation. And at the end of that conversation, he at the end of that conversation, Drake sent Anthony a vegan cookie recipe. But Drake didn't really like the fact that Anthony did this spoof, and so Drake went ahead and revealed what he actually said to Anthony. And it's not so great, I don't think, in Drake's a little bit too big, I guess,
The thing
to be
is,
coming at Anthony like this. Wait a minute. Let me state the things. They're on the screen here. So Drake says to Anthony,
you got to read them in an Anthony way.
I'm not doing that.
You got to do it.
He says, I'll read him in a Drake way.
Okay, I got to hear this. Go ahead.
All right, Anthony. You see, your existence is a light one. And the one is because you're alive. And because somehow you wifed a black girl. I'm feeling a light, decent one on your existence. Champagne Poppy out.
Good luck with that, bruh.
Yeah. What are you saying?
Yeah.
Stop. You're fired.
That Drake, Drake, he was just like, let me talk. You were like, is like a light voiced Prince.
I mean, but
is that what you think of Drake?
Basically.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Especially right now, because my point is, he's here being super sensitive when not everybody's gonna like everything that he does, and Anthony has gone out of his way to like some things and not like other things. Something specifically that Anthony likes, and I think is also a classic, is him and Future's record. If you're reading this, it's too late.
No. That's his solo record with him and What a Time to Be Alive.
Oh, What a Time to Be Alive. Sorry.
It's okay.
If you're reading this, it's too late. Is what Anthony bigs up though.
Yeah.
But
Which is
Future was
strange.
on reading. No, no, he wasn't a part of that. But they were released within the same time.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Because it was in that same little era of Drake stuff.
Right. So Future was involved.
Yeah. I mean, well, Quentin Miller was involved apparently. Anyway, not to bring that back up, but
man, you are distracting.
But to get to this Anthony and Drake beef, I guess the thing is, Anthony is a huge influencer, whether people want to believe that or not. And And I think that it only gets under his skin if somebody has actual influence.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so like if somebody has the platform to
Yeah.
maybe convince people of their opinions, then yeah, that's the thing I don't like about culture right now. And we're going to talk about that in our next thing, is that culturally we can be easily influenced and not use critical thinking to form our own thoughts and opinions and things of that nature. And we will go out and display other people's opinions as our behaviors. And what I mean by that is our shopping behaviors. So we will buy less of Drake's albums if Anthony says, I don't like them.
The funny thing about that is, like, because we grew up in an era where you like what you like, and that's okay. Even if you had to like hide what you liked because people were very critical of it, you still liked it.
Yeah, but I don't think this is a generational thing. I don't think.
No, I don't think it's a generational thing. I'm just speaking from where my experience comes from. And so with me, I know specifically, I used to watch Anthony all the time. And then I started to listen because he was very critical of Lupe albums. And I would be like, I don't need somebody to agree with me on whether or not this album is good or not. But I also just don't want to go to places where people are like negatively about something that I do like.
But I think the biggest reason why Drake is upset, it's to your point, is because people just kind of utilize their influence, and then their influence kind of digs in and makes people feel some type of way about whatever their opinion is.
Right.
And again, like my concern about society is that we get into this place where we let that influence soak in, and we don't let ourselves be ourselves. You know what I mean? Like if there's a bunch of atheists out there, then we get upset that as Christians that there's a bunch of atheists out there. You know, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm saying, like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
if they come to you and say, oh, if they stand in your face and they tell you that God is not real, right? It makes you feel some type of way, even though you should be firm in your belief.
And it doesn't really matter. But that's the difficulties, like you were saying, to further go with your point, is opinions and facts don't have a discernment for people. They're not able to really tell the difference. Yeah. So someone's opinion on something is their opinion. It's their perspective. It does not have to be your own. It does not have to be something that you take within yourself. And yet, for whatever reason, we do.
Yeah.
You know, like, even as you're saying, like, an atheist telling me that God doesn't exist does not bother me. You know, like, the only thing that ends up bothering me is any sort of aggressive attack. Like, we talked about our game comments on the diss track, and even on our Eminem video. The way people respond to our opinion when they can have their own is weird.
Yeah.
It's like somehow you were coming for confirmation of your opinion in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that just don't make sense.
Yeah, and that we should never be looking for that confirmation. And so ultimately, when it comes down to Anthony and Drake's beef, we'll see how this unfolds as time goes on. Anthony has gone on and done some live streams specifically on Instagram about the whole debacle and it playing out in the public eye. And yeah, we'll see how it unfolds in the coming weeks.
I don't get what he wanted him to do, though. Honestly, like what do you think Drake want Anthony to do in terms of his response? Did he like, because revealing these tweets don't help him in whatever perception ways? It just seems like you being extremely negative and petty versus funny. I don't know.
I don't know what he got out of putting it out there outside of like putting it out there. Maybe he wanted to reveal the truth. And that's just it since the spoof was revealed that you know what I mean, cuz it's like it's a true statement that Drake DM'd him.
Yeah.
So maybe Drake is mad that he aired out the fact that he DM'd him in the first place. Even though the actual contents of the DM were masked. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, I'm mad you did this, so at least I'm going to make sure that the truth is out there.
Yeah, waste time.
I'm pretty confident my camera is dropping frames, and that's another reason for me to be angry right now. So let's move on.
On to the next. On to the next.
And there we go. With my lovely screens here. So there's a little bit of controversy, and you brought this to my attention, and I had you do copious amounts of research.
Copious. Listen, I thought I was going to have to give him a thesis.
Well, I mean,
I'm joking.
Look, I don't take us as experts, right? And I've said this before, that we're not experts on anything except for the thing.
I'm an expert in this rap.
Wait a minute. Let me finish before I fire you. We are experts.
That's the name of this episode. He's going to fire me.
Before you're fired. We are experts. I can't fire you from this. Before you... We are experts at the things that we are good at and the things that we master, but we're not experts in delivering the news, so to speak. Right? That's not what we do. We do try to make sure that we get information correct as best as we possibly can, but we'll go through and note where we get things wrong, and often come back on other episodes and say, "Hey, this wasn't cleared up." And even if we don't do it like directly, we'll sometimes do it indirectly. So my point to saying all of that is the reason why I gave you so much research to do is because I wanted to come armed with a structure so we don't just rant at people for being racist.
Good point. Good point.
Right? And so I wanted to provide the listener with something, and I needed to find a way to make this easy for me to edit.
Yeah.
without having like long strips of things. Like, I don't want to cut down your words in such an impactful situation, but I am going to cut the hell out of this video.
Right. So the controversy that we're speaking of is in Disney's new live action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. I almost called her Halle again because of that girl, but Halle Bailey is or has been cast as Ariel. And that, in and of itself, caused a lot of vitriol and negative responses saying this is a woke culture move. People are not sticking to source material. Why don't they stick to source material? And it just has like kind of spun out of control in terms of this being some sort of political piece, and it shouldn't be.
Before we move on, can you, because this is one of my pet peeves, can you define woke culture?
Woke culture to me in terms of what they're saying is like anything that is uplifting of another culture. They feel something is forced versus earned or okay to have. So you're just doing this to be doing this for other people is what woke culture is to me.
Oh, so the same way that people that claim woke culture is pushing things, isn't there individuals who are complaining about woke culture that push things on other people?
You know, it's not like there's like bills in Florida
So-
that we were just talking about.
So everybody's hypocritical, right?
Oh,
Every human is flawed, right?
every human makes mistakes, huh?
Oh, we didn't know.
Oh,
Everybody has biases, right?
what?
Oh my God.
Everyone?
This is news to me, man.
News.
So, yeah, woke culture isn't a real thing.
No.
The reality is that, and we'll get into this when we're kind of talking about this, because a lot of the hate, it was reported in ScreenRants.com that a lot of the hate was generated by bots. So not even real humans. So we turn to technology, things like Twitter, Instagram, so forth, TikTok, and we use that as real facts. Again, opinion versus facts. And in this situation, the opinion is, oh, why would they make Ariel a black character when Ariel isn't black? That's the opinion. And the Disney is trying to be woke is the other opinion. When being accepting, if that's a thing that is terrible and or not favorable in the sake of like society, then woke culture should, I feel like, be a part of everybody's lives, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there is way too much. Why would you do this? Why won't you just make your own thing? From people who did not let you make your own thing.
right, because, and we'll get to we're going to move to this right
Yeah.
now. This isn't an original story at all. So Disney took the story from Hans Christian Andersen,
Okay, yeah.
and
Why does he
this,
sound like a horror movie director?
yeah, that makes sense because he has 3 names.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
That is the thing. Okay, thank you.
The 3 name thing. So they adapted this story from Hans. Hans originally wrote this story, and I'll get into the nitty gritty details of the story. Hans wrote this story in order for him to explain his feelings about a guy that he wanted to be with. And so he had this unrequited love and wrote this fictional tale because of that love that he had for another person. And he didn't see his love or his relationship as being homosexual at the time, because he didn't believe in that. And this is the 1800s. And so he just like felt like he would never get to have the love. And so that brings me to the original story. The original story is about a mermaid who is born to royalty or mermaid royalty, has, I believe, 5 other siblings, 5 or 6 other siblings, and she is the youngest.
6.
6, yes.
Because it's the 7 C's.
Thank you. And when she gets her turn to make her voyage to the surface, she sees a prince. And she saves that prince after he gets into a kind of traumatic situation with the sea, and his boat wrecks.
Shipwreck.
Yeah, but when she saves him, she brings him ashore, and he falls in love with another girl. He falls in love with a temple princess or some other type of royalty. And when she sees that he falls in love, she goes back and trades her voice for a potion, but that potion has some side effects. It makes her feel as if when she's walking with her legs that she's walking on blades, which is horrific.
Oh, no, keep going. Because this don't even have a happy ending.
Exactly. So, and not only is she walking on blades, like if she doesn't make the prince fall in love with her in 24 hours, basically, she just essentially evaporates.
And does she evaporate?
Yeah, and that's basically what happens. She doesn't succeed. He marries the other chick, and there's no happy ending here. Well, it kind of is a happy ending. She has some type of weird mermaid eternal life that they didn't know about. But at the same time, like, it's basically Hans just saying, I will never close the gap on this situation in my life.
It's just unrequited love that Disney has this this theme in them, or not this theme. This is what they push. So if you think about this story, if you think about even Pocahontas, the way I said that sounded weird.
Hold on. If you think about it, Disney has always been woke compared to this story and the other stories that they flipped.
Oh, comparatively, it's just they have not been true to source material. Is basically the whole thing, because they want to give you a different viewpoint or some hope or some kind of, the Magic Kingdom and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So that was more so my point, instead of getting all into Pocahontas. But like, just on any of these things, if you do the research on the real stories of any of their movies,
they're horrific.
It's a lot of stuff that's not based on source material. But go ahead to the, do you want me to read the mermaid's description in the story?
So the thing that is controversial is that in the story, they never really get into detail about what the mermaid looks like. So people's outrage seems a little weird. So yeah, go ahead and read that.
Her skin was as soft and tender as a rose petal, and her eyes were as blue as the deep sea. But like all the others, she had no feet. Her body ended in a fishtail, and even there's somewhere along the lines where there was translucent that was mentioned in terms of it being almost clear.
Yeah.
And it's like, Go ahead.
So ultimately, you can make up any image about anybody. And at the time that Disney was making movies, early on, and the Little Mermaid came out, right? They're not representing all of culture in their movies. They're not doing it. They're representing the dominant culture in their movies. And you could argue that most movies still represent the dominant culture. So this idea that wokeness is taking over and now we're sharing people's stories, or now we're inserting people of color into stories where they didn't exist. Well, what about all the stories that they injected white people where they didn't exist? You see what I'm saying? So like,
in different places.
It's not woke to do this, because there's still a majority of movies that are made with white characters for white culture.
So one of the big controversies about like TV shows and stuff in terms of representation is the Friends living single conversation, which is Friends in and of itself was an idea that was pretty much stolen from Living Single. The problem in a lot of things that goes on in Friends that doesn't really happen in Living Single is you're in New York. So even in Living Single, there's more situations. They create situations where there should only be white people there. Whereas Friends, a lot of the times, acts like like New York is not some sort of melting pot and blended.
You mean they in Living Single, there are situations that black people should be, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You said white people, so.
Oh, my bad. And then in Friends, there are so many situations to where it's like you would think that black people don't live in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Or any other people live in New York.
Or there's like one black person at a coffee shop, right?
Yeah, and so like it's not even so much like, and wasn't nobody even asking that there had to be people on the show.
What is it, like Aisha Tyler was on Friends, and
Gabrielle Union was on Friends, and as far as I can remember, that's it.
Less than a handful of black folks.
And it's like, that's not New York. Like, even if they're not mainstay characters, the situations that they created in Living Single, right? So you're at a black magazine company, they're majority of the time in their apartment. So it's not in situations where you need to like interact in a certain way. You know, it's a very small microcosm of what the world is.
Yeah, but to the, I guess the writers or the creators' point, to counter that in some way, but not even to go back and forth. Like the Friends dichotomy is seemingly what happens when in normal life, right? White people tend to stick to with white people, and black people tend to stick with black people.
Yeah, I think it's just more so it shouldn't be so apparent that other people don't exist.
Right.
And I think that's the only thing.
When they go out in public.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like no one would have an issue with any show if you just represented what's actually happening around you. Like you don't have to have any gay friends, but you definitely haven't. You know what I'm like? You've encountered somebody. You know somebody. And it's like so often in shows and movies and everything that we're talking about, it's just they act like nobody else exists. Like it's funny to me that you can have a whole Caribbean singing crab, but I guarantee you there were no Caribbean people in this movie. Even like I'm almost positive that the person singing the song is not Caribbean and it's just somebody doing a voice.
Be careful with that.
Okay.
If you don't know.
Nah, I'll leave it alone. But
I'm just saying.
I'll leave it alone. But
this is why I had you do copious research so you don't say things like that. I'm 100% positive. But I know you didn't say 100%, but I'm just messing around.
Close enough. But let's talk about the good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Because there's so many like little girls and just black kids in general that see themselves. I don't know that the people who are on the other side understand representation and how impactful it is to see yourself in imagination. We had this conversation around Black Panther, but yeah, it's a positive impact to see yourself.
I don't think that people understand how little people of color get to see themselves in popular media in general. And that's why I don't believe that it's woke culture, right? Like It's not woke culture. It's still out of the grand scheme of things, it's still like the one, or even if you go by the 80-20 rule, it's still the 20% of movies that are made. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most movies are going to represent the people that are making the movies. They're not necessarily going to represent the actual melting pot of this United States. And that's the concern. And so when things move towards representing the melting pot that we live in, and people get up in arms about that representation, that's when I say it's not being woke. It's just being real.
Right. Even in the Buzz Lightyear movie, there's a lesbian kiss, and that's it. They don't you don't even go further into the relationship or whatever it is that they had going on. And, you know, like in other places, this movie is now banned.
Yeah. So it's said to be, oh, now you're normalizing these kisses. But at the same time, isn't it normal that lesbians walk the streets?
But is it not also
is
normal?
It normal that like lesbians exist?
So why are we not? Why is it not a bad thing that we've normalized kissing? Because I guarantee you, in however many % of Disney movies, there's a kiss,
right?
And like, are you just
so we're okay with normalizing heterosexual kissing? Right?
Or you're okay with normalizing even whatever relationship intimacy of a certain level. And it's like,
But I think a majority of that representation is heterosexual.
no,
right?
yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like, if the majority of the representation is heterosexual and people that are homosexual don't feel represented, and then they get represented, let's say, a handful of times, is it really the epidemic that people make it out?
No, and you can still show them all, or whoever you're not trying to get to see this, all of in that 80% of movies that don't have this.
So it's like saying that out of 100 times you're playing a sport, and 80 of those times you go and play basketball. But 20 of those times you go and play golf. And somebody that's observing it says, well, damn it, you're trying to become a golfer, aren't you? When in reality, like,
This is a good analogy.
you play basketball for the most part. You just see the golf course every once in a while. Like,
Yeah,
you know
just
what I
wanna
mean?
Mix it up.
and so it doesn't it baffles me how individuals can get so worked up about things that are, number one, not as they don't have an actual impact on your life, right? So they're not going to turn you gay if you see people gay on TV. They're not going to force your kids to be okay with black people if they see black people on TV. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not, and even if it did, what's wrong with that?
Let's. Here's another thing. Number one, fiction ain't real. It's whatever you create it to be. Like, I don't even want to get to where you got, which is like, let's stay. It's fictional.
Yeah.
When did fictionally, fiction things have to become fact? Like, I know that being a comic book fan and dealing with the MCU, there's a lot of times where people get mad about not sticking to the source material or whatever, right?
Were they mad about Aquaman? Because I've seen this point made before. Is that like,
really.
Everybody was just kind of cool with Jason coming in, and Jason wasn't,
a white blonde-haired guy.
Yeah. and actually, Jason looks totally different from Aquaman. Aquaman looks kind of dorky, for lack of a better term.
No, great term for.
And so,
Oh man,
that doesn't really represent Aquaman, but you're cool with that?
Well, I mean, they're also cool with gods of Egypt.
Yeah.
Like,
or Moses. Right?
Listen, it's a weird thing because when you're, and like you said, the majority still gets what they want. Like, you don't complain about the representation there, but if we did a Gods of Egypt movie and there was not a white person in sight, there would be outrage, even though it's an Egyptian god.
Right.
It don't even make sense.
I think sometimes the argument is that, movies have to sell tickets, and so they want the best. They want the best or the highest paid actor there. And my argument is that just because somebody's the highest paid doesn't make them great. And we've seen that when movie houses or companies push what they're promoting, there can be success.
Yeah. And I mean, but also then there's like places where you're not really but okay. Let's do two examples. I got two examples here. So, Dragon Ball Evolution.
Where are you going with this?
You know, was Goku a Japanese guy? He was not.
Oh, that was that the live action one?
Yes.
Come on, dude. Dude, we shouldn't even talk about that thing. What was that garbage?
But again, not only was it garbage, we had that. Then the secondary thing is, I don't know. As far as I know, Scarlett Johansson is a white young lady.
Johanna San.
But I thought, in Ghost in the Shell, being an avid anime watcher, I don't recall there being a white lady.
Yeah, yeah. Ultimately, I think that people are freaking out for nothing.
Nothing, and you just overall there are so many things,
and maybe it's not even people freaking out, right? Maybe we're reacting to bots.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I just think the overall conversation in terms of people, anyone who did find a way to be butthurt, like remind yourself that imagination is just that. It's okay for there to be black elves, black werewolves, because these things don't.
Black people. It's okay.
It's okay. Like, fiction can be whatever you want it to be. Matter of fact, if you go to the movie, you can imagine that she's white.
You haven't seen my thumbnail yet, but let's just say it's okay.
It's okay, guys.
And by the way, your neck, we literally, okay, so last time your video was too high on your head. Now it's too low on your head.
What? Oh, no.
It's like
Did
we
I
need
shrink?
to see more of your shoulders. And we've been seeing 90% head and neck. This whole entire time.
My bad, guys. But also, look at the views. We got good views.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's more than enough controversy and stupid talk.
Yeah, this has been dumb.
If you're listening via audio only, why don't you come check us out at youtube.com/No Rhyme or Reason podcast.
Yes.
If you want to look at other stuff, youtube.com/wordplaytj and youtube.com/Icarus Gray.
Yeah.
Because we all got custom URLs, bitch.
All right, you're fumbling this out.
Sorry, but anyway, we appreciate you guys for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell. We have more controversy over here if you want to check us out talking about the AI rapper FN Mecca. Or if you just want some feel-good stuff, TJ's going to pick a video over here. But anyway, a 1 and a 2 and a peace.